Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Venom Post Credit Scene video and explaining the ending. Hopefully you've had a chance to see the film. Careful for spoilers if you have not, because we'll be talking about very specific stuff. We're still doing that Spider-Man PS4 game giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Venom-related comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. Hopefully you stayed through both post-credit scenes. I think some people left before the second one at the end of the credits, even though it felt like more of an ad than an actual post-credit scene. Like Sony's reminding everyone, hey, remember this other big Spider-Man related movie that we're releasing in December? Please buy tickets for that. But the way they set that up is kind of curious. But the first post-credit scene is the most direct setup for the sequel, and it was pretty much what everyone was expecting, although maybe not quite in the way that everyone was expecting. The way they set it up was kind of funny. The wig wasn't great, but all the rumors turning out to be Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, in the future turned out to be true. And I think the choice of actor is great. I'm not a big fan of the wig, but I think they just wanted there to be no doubt about what they were setting up. They wanted to be very clear about what the sequel was going to be. A lot of the comic book readers will say, wait a minute, we didn't see Venom or Riot make any clear spawn during the movie, so how are they going to get to the Carnage symbiote? Leading up to the big final battle, they make great pains to let you know that fire and sonic frequencies are deadly for the symbiotes. You see Riot and Carlton Drake promptly get barbecued within the shuttle before it explodes in an even greater flame, and then the Venom symbiote sort of turns itself into a parachute to protect Eddie from the fall into the water. So they really want you to think that there is no more Riot symbiote. The Venom symbiote is the only one left on planet Earth right now because all the others besides the Riot symbiote died during human testing or during that mysterious encounter when Carlton Drake fed, quote-unquote, Jenny Slate's character to the symbiote, and then it died because nobody was watching it. Why weren't you watching it? What was going on? That was a really weird scene, but they just wanted you to get to the point where Carlton Drake thought that the Venom symbiote was the only one that he had left, so that's why he started freaking out. We need to get Eddie back, until the Riot symbiote literally walked around the corner and said, hey, what's up, dude, and entered him. So by the time he's talking to Anne at the end of the movie, and you get that funny Venom reveal that he's not dead, he's talking to Eddie inside his head, and he's gonna go back to being a regular reporter, that Venom is the only symbiote left on planet Earth. So while Eddie is going off to be a reporter, he says that someone from inside the prison system contacted him. Famous or infamous serial killer Cletus Cassidy wants to be interviewed, and he'll only talk to Eddie Brock because he's relatively famous in the San Francisco area, so I suppose that's kind of believable. They don't actually get to the interview portion of whatever it is that Cletus Cassidy wants to get out. They have some funny banter, then he has the sequel dialogue. When I get out of here, there's going to be Carnage. So like I said, wig not so hot, but what they could do in the sequel to get to the Carnage spawn from Venom is that he just interviews Cletus Cassidy a couple of times, and one of the times while he's at the prison, the Venom symbiote spawns. Eddie doesn't realize what's happening, so he doesn't think anything of it. The spawn is left at the prison, finds Cletus Cassidy. That's how you get to Carnage. It's relatively comic book accurate with a few minor changes. In the comics, what happened is that Eddie had been locked up after being taken down by Spider-Man. Fellow inmate Cletus Cassidy wasn't too far away. The Venom symbiote came to rescue Eddie and break him out of prison. While that was happening, it spawned. Eddie obviously had no idea what was going on, so he broke out and took off. But because the spawn didn't have any of the attachment to Eddie that the Venom symbiote did, it sought another host, which ended up being Cletus Cassidy. So that's how Carnage was born in the comics. But there were a couple of moments that they tried to foreshadow what their fights would be like when he was fighting the Riot symbiote during the movie. The Riot symbiote could harden itself to metal-like density. It could form blades. It could form spikes that it would turn into projectiles. So those are all things that Carnage is known for doing in the comics. So they just wanted to make audiences familiar with what that kind of a fight would feel like. Except that all the Carnage symbiote wants to do is cause chaos. You have to imagine it being like Venom's version of the Joker. Someone who just wants to watch the world burn. So what they could do is they could either call the sequel Venom vs. Carnage, Venom Carnage, or they could really go for it and just call it Venom Maximum Carnage. We'll probably hear more about that in the next couple of months. Venom's opening weekend seems pretty strong, so the likelihood of a sequel is still really good right now, but it'll just depend on what the next couple of weeks looks like. If we hear anything about a green light, I will totally do a video about it. They signed Tom Hardy to 3 movies, so apparently they planned on making a trilogy. No idea what that third film would be if they're going to do Maximum Carnage for the second film. but I think they really want to get Tom Holland in a movie, so that third movie would probably be their Spider-Man crossover. But the second post-credit scene, like I said, is a little more curious in the way that they set it up. Now, it's basically just a scene from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with Miles meeting the Jake Johnson Peter Parker that you see in all the trailers, the one from the other Earth, because his Peter Parker has already died. So it's mostly Sony just reminding you that that movie's coming out, but the way they set it up is it says, like right after the Venom credits, in another universe, as if it's part of a greater Spider-Verse. Like they're trying to get you to wonder whether or not they're saying that the Venom movie is part of this Spider-Verse that this animated movie is also part of. Like, wait a minute, what are they doing here? So you can take it either way. I took it as more of an ad, but the way that they set it up did leave room for them to sort of say, oh, you know, it's all part of the Spider-Verse. It's just another universe. Some of the universes just happen to be animated. But in this scene, Miles is at Ultimate Peter Parker's grave, who has already died, maybe in a fight with the Green Goblin, because that's kind of what happened with the setup for Miles Morales in the Ultimate comics. Peter dies in a fight with Ultimate Goblin. Miles is a big fan of his. Eventually, he's inspired by his sacrifice to become Spider-Man and take the mantle himself after he gets the spider bite. So he's at Ultimate Peter's grave saying, I don't think I can do this, when all of a sudden, the Jake Johnson Peter Parker comes up on him and tries to introduce himself before they have that awkward run-in where he accidentally knocks him out and then tries to escape from the police with him in tow. So you have them crashing their way down the street in New York City, which is probably right before they have the scene from the trailer where Miles says, wait a minute, how many of us are there? Where the Jake Johnson Peter Parker explains the multiverse to him. There are many of us from many different universes. The funny thing about the Spider-Verse movie is that all the comedic beats seem very well planned out, like it's a much more well-written script. So all the beats landed, all the people in my audience were laughing at the appropriate moments. There were a lot of moments during the Venom movie, which I felt like had a pretty weak script, where people were laughing at moments where you weren't intentionally supposed to laugh. And a lot of it had to do with the back and forth between Eddie and the Venom symbiote. But I've already done my review of the Venom movie, so I'll add a link for that at the end of this. I think the biggest problem that it had was that the script just wasn't quite ready and they started to shoot because they wanted to get the movie out so quickly. Usually what happens in situations like that is that they actually start shooting the movie before the script is done. So hopefully they'll take their time with the sequel and we'll get a really badass Venom vs. Carnage movie. But post all your theories and reactions in the comments below. What'll happen is it's still New York Comic-Con week. There's a bunch of trailers that are dropping. There's all kinds of Bullseye and Daredevil, so I'll try to get through everything as fast as possible. Leave your requests in the comments below. Congratulations, Scientific. You're the giveaway winner for my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here to watch Mark Ruffalo try to spoil the title for Avengers 4, and click here for my non-spoilery Venom review. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.